Good morning everyone, new patch, new hero, new items. Let us look at the impact it has on Dota 2. In today's video we will be looking at some pub stomping heroes which can be used to gain some MMR from Herald 1 to maybe Divine 1 and maybe Eva as well, we don't know. My name is Daddy Odin and I cast Dota 2 tournaments and in-houses on twitch.tv/OdinTasty. The link is in the description below and on the screen as well. Top most broken heroes in Dota 2 7.28, the Mistwood patch. Let us know what is your most broken hero in the patch in the comment section below. Number 10, we have Puck. Puck got a minor buff, bringing him back into a strong spot or the limelight. Team OG picked Puck twice in the grand finals of Ogre Pit tournament. Unfortunately, they did not win any of those games, but we were able to see the increase in the orb damage and coil damage really helping the magic build Puck do a lot more damage and increase the chance of Puck snowballing, thing that was not available in the magic build before. Also, E-Blade is 200 gold cheaper, which increases the amount of burst damage Puck can do. Under buff for Puck is the Ag Shard, which allows Puck to push people out of coil to apply more damage and stun them as well. This can be used in combination with heroes like Mars by pushing heroes into the wall, and with Phoenix by pushing people away from the egg onto the low ground. You can also get lucky and push people out of Roshan if they are too close to the wall. Next, at number 9, we have Nyx Assassin. Nyx Assassin is even more deadly a roamer who is gonna be stalking the jungle with his vendetta. Nyx got his base int increased to 21 from 18 and vendetta damage got increased as well. Moreover, his Ag Shard is his biggest buff, which grants him 40% move speed and applies minus 20% magic resistance, making him a great ganker and a nuker on the squishy supports and cores after 20 minutes in the game. As a pause for, Nyx Assassin should be able to save 1400 gold to get the Ag Shard at 20 minutes. Next at number 8, we have Bounty Hunter. In patch 7.28, the toolkit of Bounty Hunter has been increased quite a lot, mainly because of his Ag Shard. When Bounty Hunter has Ag Shard, his track reveals 800 vision around the enemy who is tracked and gives 50% more track movement speed boost, allowing teams to hunt heroes much easily and safely, knowing that it cannot be a bait on the high ground. He has got a series of mini buffs like increasing move speed from 315 to 320 and the radius of track movement speed increased from 800 to 1200. That's so big on Bounty Hunter. Teams get the move speed bonus from such a far distance of the tracked enemy, making it easier to catch them. They also increase the slow applied when coming out of Shadow Walk to 40%, making Bounty a deadly ganker. Next at number 7, we have the two-headed monster, Ogre Magi. Ogre Magi didn't really receive any big spell changes or upgrades. There were only small changes on how much mana for each spell was costing. His true buff comes from his Ag Shard. Ogre Magi's Ag Shard provides him with a new spell called Fire Shield. This absorbs 70% of damage coming from the next 3 attacks and shoots a fireball dealing 125 damage each time and can be casted on towers. Not only that, it can be also multicasted. Also, blocking 3 attacks might be the difference between dying and killing the enemy and can be used as buffer while his other spells come off cooldown to save your allies. Ogre Magi can also farm really effectively, which should make buying his Ags quite possible. Next at number 6, we have the Grand Magus Rubick. Rubick got a series of buffs and spell changes, which might have nerfed a bit in the laning phase but boosted his power in team fights even more. Before we go into his spell rework, let us talk about his Ag Shard buff that can be used offensively and defensively. Rubick Ag Shard upgrades his telekinesis, which allows you to target it towards your enemy or ally by lifting them into air and throwing them 60% farther than normal, and the cooldown is reduced by 20% on telekinesis. Not only that, when Rubick has Ag Shard, he also gets the upgrade of spells he steals which also have Ag Shard upgrades, making him quite potent in team fights. Rubick Arcane Supremacy does no longer provide a debuff which makes the amount of time his lift affects an enemy, but the new Arcane Supremacy is even more stronger in some situations. It gives him a free Aether Lens at max level of Arcane Supremacy with 26% spell amp, and on top of that, you still get the debuff on stolen spells, so Fissure, Line Stun, etc. are still very strong on Rubick. In patch 7.28, Rubick can just rush Blink or Force Staff, and he will be fine as long as he can play from the back with his extra 225 cast range plus 100 cast range he gets at level 15 through the talents. If you want, you can play Rubick as a right-click hero as well, by getting Fate Bolt steals hero damage, plus 100 base damage at level 15 talent. I think we will be seeing great things from this hero, as we already see Yapsor making right-click build on Rubick. Next at number 5, we have the dual-headed dragon Jakiro, which was the number 1 support or tier S support in patch 7.27. And he actually got a buff. I guess Icefrog has a favorite hero in Dota after all. No spell changes except on talents of changing level 15 talent of -1 second on Ice Path to -1.5 seconds on Ice Path. The main reason why this hero is broken is due to his Ag Shard, and I think it's safe to say it is a S tier Ag Shard spell that is currently in the game. The new spell is called Liquid Frost, kinda cute as Ice Dragon now has an equivalent spell like Liquid Fire. Jakiro was quite powerful or close to even broken before in 7.27 because Liquid Fire did not have any kind of cost, and now you have 2 spells without any cost except the 1400 gold that you need to spend for getting the second spell. Liquid Frost is also a dot damage or damage over time, and it's super effective against tanky heroes. Liquid Frost removes 30% of move speed and does 20 plus 2.5% max HP per second. Max HP. Liquid Frost can be used on Roshan, towers, and heroes. Jakiro can use 2 spells on towers which destroy towers, and Jakiro does not lose anything. And number 4, we have the Ancient Wizard Invoker. Invoker was in a weird spot in patch 7.27. He was strong as Quasvex Invoker, which wasn't very popular or strong under 5k MMR without any strong team coordination. Luckily, in 7.28, the Mistwood update was definitely a good spot for Quas Exort Invokers. This is mainly due to the fact that Invoker has a series of buffs. He can now summon 2 Force Spirits without going for a talent, and as long as he has 4 levels in Quas and 4 levels in Exort, which is pretty usual for Quas Exort Invokers. Secondly, his level 10 talent gave him a very good power spike, which is usually found around level 14 or even 15. Before, the level 10 for Invoker was 30% meatball damage, increased now to a whopping 40% meatball damage, which is quite kinda insane. If you're an Invoker player, you know that enemies usually survive the early Cold Snap Tornado Meatball combo with 100 or so HP after 2 or 3 right clicks. Now at level 10, those foes will definitely die. Another buff to Invoker is the armor reduction cap, which was increased from 10 to 20 on Forward Spirits, which can be really useful in prolonged fights where you can micro your couriers to constantly hit someone in the fight, and if supports aren't careful and have no way to stun or outrun your spirits, they can actually be killed with only 2 Forward Spirits as they are quite tanky. Also, if you're new to Invoker, you can buy a 1400 item which helps you cast Ice Walls in a vector way, which helps new Invokers with casting Ice Wall and also help late game where you can clear waves with ease. Next, at number 3, we have the champion of the Sunken Isles, Tide Hunter, specifically Carry Tide or Mid Tide. Tide was in a weird rough spot in 7.27. Offlane was mostly of Mars, Night Stalker, and Slaughter. But in 7.28 update, Tide got a serious punch behind him. He got his talents move around and got a buff to his Kraken Shell. But the huge buff that he got is the overwhelming blink item and Ag Shard. Let's first see what his Ag Shard does. Ag Shard on Tide Hunter upgrades Anchor Smash by giving it plus 90 damage to the bonus damage of Anchor Smash. And it is also going to start affecting towers when he uses Anchor Smash near towers. Tide Hunter can finally shred towers so fast, going carry build with items like Desolator or Crystallis, And he already is built tanky, so he's safe from stuns and any kind of initiations. And if he's found in a tough spot, he can always use his Ravage to either buy some time for his team to catch up or just leave. Second buff is the Overwhelming Blink, which is a new item upgrade of Blink Dagger. When you blink in with Overwhelming Blink, there is 800 AoE blast that is spread around the point of your landing blink area. This 800 AoE blast will cause the enemies to have 50% less movement speed and 50% less attack speed. And they also take 200 plus 100% of your strength as damage. And as a strength hero Tide, this is quite some ridiculous damage. On Tide Hunter is blink in and use Ravage, and with that combo itself, you might be able to kill off all illusions and maybe even kill off some of the squishier supports going into the late game of 30 to 35 minutes. And after that, you still have Anchor Smash to use as well, so you will be doing a lot of damage. Next at number 2, we have Master of Material Plane and my favorite demon on all of them, Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon is one of the most annoying heroes to play against. His constant harass with the Shadow Poison is just brutal. Before, heroes like LC, Omni Knight, and Slark had a good time against Shadow Demon as they could purge away Shadow Poison in laning phase. But no more. Shadow Poison is not dispellable anymore, and its damage wasn't even touched nor nerfed. Shadow Demon's Ag Shard is another tier S or even S plus Ag Shard upgrade that is available in the Dota in 7.28. A 1400 item that can apply continuous basic dispel on allies and heal them the amount of damage Demonic Purge does. At max level, that's a 500 heal and a 7-second constant basic dispel on your core. And if you want, you can make an axe and cast it on all your cores or 2 cores and on the enemy depending on the matchup. I think there will be a strong surge in offlane or even greedy pause for Shadow Demons as well as mid Shadow Demons in the patch 7.28, especially in the pro scene. Now, before we go for the number 1 broken hero, let us look at some honorable mentions which has potential for being really good with some experimental builds and weird pairing in the laning phases. Lycan and his new Ag Shard. Lycan has gotten quite a few buffs which improve his ability for split pushing. The first buff was making Feral Impulse a global spell that affects all his summons. This is quite big for Lycan. If you're not a Lycan player, you might not actually feel this being much of a buff, but if you're a Lycan player, you will know the amount of damage your summons do with you and without you. Feral Impulse gives 8 regen and 50% bonus damage. Lycan now can use his wolves and summons to farm or split push waves quickly without keeping himself at risk. The new Ag Shard for Lycan is his old Agnum Scepter. Unlike his old Ags, you will only be given 1 wolf in each lane, which is uncontrollable, which is actually not that bad, getting at 20 minutes for 1400 gold, especially with global Feral Impulse. All your waves will be constantly pushing, applying constant pressure in all lanes. Before, when he had the Ags that provided 2 or 3 wolves in each lane, the gold was kind of a weird mathematical solution where the enemy was actually getting more because you were feeding more units into the enemy. Lycan could be really strong from either mid or offlane, maybe even support if your draft can handle it. Essentially under 4k or under 4.5k, the enemy team usually don't respond efficiently to the pressure around the map, which will allow Lycan to slowly rat and waste time for the entire time while your core can safely farm. I think Lycan can be well used in a 4 Protect 1 or a tempo drafts like Drow and maybe even Alchemist, as he also got a resurgence into the current 7.28 Mistwood update. Next we have Death Prophet. If you were watching the Dota Ogre Pit, you might have noticed Team Nigma tried to use Death Prophet as a pause 4, and it wasn't actually really that bad. Death Prophet got her movement speed increased, making her the fastest hero in Dota without boots next to Pugna. She did lose her ability to gain movement speed while siphoning enemies, but now drains their armor into her, which is just amazing for armor reduction drafts. I think mid offlane and roaming death profits will have a success in 7.28 with the right team comps in competitive Dota or even your pubs if you can get your other teammates to cooperate with you. After absorbing enemy armor, she's quite tanky and her ult is a physical damage which is just gonna destroy the enemies, while getting the health regen or health gain coming from all the snipings you're taking from the enemy. Next, we have Outward Devourer or Outward Destroyer after he got a name change and quite a rework. It's safe to say they changed OD a lot, taking her back to the old OD. But let's talk about the nerfs they did for this hero. She can no longer do splash damage or AoE damage with her imprisonment, which is kind of a really big deal because you cannot farm anymore on OD effectively or efficiently. But level 1 cast range of imprisonment was increased so much that it's more than the old imprisonment and equivalent to somewhat between the level 2 and level 3, mostly towards the level 3. I think mid OD is probably not that strong unless OD wins mid. This might cause the OD to snowball and start farming the heroes. But if the OD has a draw lane or loses the lane, it is going to be really hard for OD to come back and have any kind of impact in the game. Even though you won the lane and there's some wrong fight happening or you're unable to pick off the enemy, you might slowly start losing your lead on OD. That's why I think the new OD will be trying to play as a support and a savior like Shadow Demon. I think a lot of teams will be starting to experiment this hero as most likely a pause 4 with a laning partner like Magnus, Leshrac, Lina, Mars, Centaur. I think the sole job of OD as pause 4 will be to secure the lane with his imprisonment and harass the safe laner, and later in the game it is for initiations for saving his core or grabbing some enemy who is caught out and waiting for your team to join you. And also to drop the Mighty Hammer in teamfights, which still does a lot of damage if you are playing into a lot of strength heroes. I think the pause 4 build for Outward Destroyer will be something in the lines of making mana boots and the new int item. Next, we have a hero who is probably going to get me a lot of haters for saying this, but Storm Spirit roaming or offlane. I think roaming Storm Spirit or even offlane has a lot of potential. The problem when you play Storm mid is he's very item hungry and needs Bloodstone, Orchid, BKB, and then feels comfortable fighting into the enemy. Now let's picture a pause 4 Storm. It's not that bad. It's like the lesser version of Rubick and an even more greedier pause 4 than Rubick. After Storm gets level 6, can make rotations very effectively around the map with his zip. Storm can also gang mid before level 6 with his Electric Vortex, stunning the mid and killing him with the damage from Storm and the mid laner. When we go to itemization, I think you can go Mana Boots into Force Staff or Yules into an Ag Shard and the Ags, which will probably take quite... But if you get Ag Shard, I think that should be enough to make him really potent. If you haven't read the patch notes or are not sure what Storm Ags does, it gives 3 charges of Overload to you and all the allies around you in a 750 AoE, and each overload is AoE or causes splash damage. That's why Storm is an honorable mention, because I think it has potential away from mid but needs to be experimented to see how to set kills in lane and if he's supporting or is he playing off lane and who matches up really well for him. And if you get to level 25, I think a lot of people will start to experiment with the overload bounces for late game. Maybe they can try some kind of cool combo where they bounce it with Luna or something like that, or with 2 or 3 attacking cores, and I think it'll be pretty cool. It's at least pretty cool on paper. I hope to see a couple of teams try Storm Spirit support, and let me know in the comment section if it works for you guys. I think it's safe to say don't try it in your pubs unless you are playing a 5 stack. I think your other teammates will be really angry at you. Anyways, next we have Vengeful Spirit. I have seen quite a lot of surge in safe lane Vengeful Spirit, which I'm not really sure why as soon as the new patch hit. But it It's kind of played like mid-Venge Spirit, but from the safe lane side. I think Vengeful got a slight nerf as it doesn't provide any attack range or primary attribute, but now provides increased base damage, and which is still not too bad. But the reason why she's strong is due to her 100% uptime as long as she's not killed twice when she has her Agnum Scepter. Vengeful got an Axe rework where it provides essentially a second life to Vengeful and gives her 30% more movement speed, making her quite potent. Even though you no longer have 2 charges on swap anymore, the cooldown was heavily brought down to 30 seconds at max level. She also got a spell that is upgraded with Ag Shard. Wave of Terror can steal 25% off base damage from enemy and from each Meepo unit, but sadly it does not work on illusions or on the bear. This base damage is then amped by the new way Vengeance Aura works. Next up we have Silencer, a hero who didn't have any changes other than giving him an Ag Shard, which makes his Glaives of Wisdom bounce on enemy heroes. But the reason why Silencer might be broken is because of the new item called Witch Blade, which applies a curse that slows enemy by 20% and causes him to take your end damage as damage for 3 seconds. Which is quite strong as Silencer keeps getting more end as the game goes. It also gives plus 35 attack speed, plus 6 armor, and plus 300 projectile speed. I think there will be a lot more pause for Silencers and even mid Silencers and maybe offlane Silencers paired with an Ogre Magi to purely dominate lanes. Okay, we're at the end of the list. Before we go to our number 1 broken hero in 7.28 Mistwood update, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe button so you're blessed with more MMR, and give us your support so that we can continue making more videos like these. At number 1, we have the man who can become 4 spirits, now the one and only Brew Master. Now let us see why Brew Master is very strong. Drunken Brawler now is changed again, which passively provides evasion and critical strike and can be activated for 5 seconds to provide 3 times the evasion and 3 times the critical strike. Essentially, at level 1 of Drunken Brawler, if you activate Drunken Brawler, you get 18% evasion and 72% chance for critical strike. That means you can dodge 1 attack in 5 attacks, and you can guarantee a crit in 2 attacks. The Brewling also got a series of buffs and nerfs to balance the new armor, HP regen, and magic resistance to each of the 3 spirits. Now let us talk about the Ag Shard before we finally discuss why Brew might be the most broken hero in patch 7.28. Brew's Ag Shard now provides him a new 4th spirit called Void Brewling. He has a spell called Astral Pulse, which has a 500 AoE, and anyone in that AoE will be slowed and will be disarmed for 2.5 seconds. I think this is kind of nice touch in Dota as we have 4 spirits in the game now. But at the same time, it is not a bad 1400 investment as well. Void Brewling can be a really powerful tool against a heavy right click dealing lineup. Finally, after we add all these other buffs to Brewmaster, we will talk about the main buff that makes him busted in 7.28 Mistwood update, and it is his Ags. Once Brewmaster gets his Ags Scepter, he gets 2 charges of Primal Split and can stop it whenever he wants and whatever spirit he wants. At max level, Brewmaster can have his 2 charges used to give him a max duration of Primal Split for 40 seconds, and when he recasts, spirits will be fully healed and alive again. If you want, you can get Drunken Brawler at level 25, getting them evasion and even critical strike on the Brewlings. Thank you for tuning in into the top broken heroes in 7.28. Hopefully these suggestions bring you more MMR. If you find any sleeper heroes in 7.28 or combos, comment in the comment section. And if you want to see any kind of hero guides or any kind of other videos, genres, please let us know in the comment section. I'm Daddy Odin, and that's all for today.